本日はお忙しい中、
Today, thank you very much for attending Tourism Expo Japan 2024 Keynote Panel Discussion. Today, the seats are reserved in the venue. Please look at the screen at the front of the room to confirm your seat classification. If you cannot find your seat, please ask a member of staff at the venue. Please set your mobile phone to silent mode or switch it off. Thank you very much for your understanding and cooperation. Also, simultaneous interpretation is available today. The keynote panel discussion will be delivered in Japanese and English. If you wish, please collect your receiver at the entrance of the venue. By the way, please return used receivers to the entrance of the venue when you leave the hall. We will be starting shortly. Thank you very much.
本日はお忙しい中、ツーリズムエキス
Thank you very much for attending Tourism Expo Japan 2024 Keynote Panel Discussion. This time around, the Tourism Expo Japan 2024 Keynote Panel Discussion is going to be delivered in the Tokyo Big Site as well as on YouTube. So it is conducted in a hybrid format. Now, I would like to give some housekeeping announcements to those in the venue. Some seats in the venue are reserved seats. Please have a look at the screen at the front of the room. If you cannot find your seat, please speak to a staff member in the venue. Please set your mobile phone to silent mode or switch it off. Thank you very much for your understanding and cooperation. Also, simultaneous interpretation is available today. The keynote panel discussion will be conducted in Japanese and English. If you wish, please collect your receiver at the entrance of the venue. Also, when you leave the venue, please return used receivers to the entrance of the venue. We will be starting in a moment. Please be seated. Thank you.
皆様、
Good afternoon to you all. Well, thank you very much for attending a Tourism Expo Japan 2024 Keynote panel discussion, despite your busy schedules. I will be serving as the moderator today. My name is Miho Nozaki. Nice to meet you all. In this year's forum, the theme is expansion of the tourism exchange population, and we will deliver a keynote panel discussion. So we would like to start the panel discussion without further ado. Today's moderator will be Ms. Marjorie Dewey, President of Connect Worldwide Japan Company Limited. I'd like to ask Ms. Marjorie Dewey to take over from here. The microphone is not on. The microphone is off. The microphone is off.
Excuse our little audio issue. It's always the AV, right? Okay, we'll start again. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the keynote panel discussion at Tourism Expo Japan. My name is Marjorie Dewey, and I'll be moderating the session this afternoon. Our topic is expanding travel exchange. We've brought together a panel of experts in the travel and tourism industry to present their case studies on the innovative ways that they are reaching out to new potential travelers by fostering unique travel product development. Our panelists will share their insights in the areas of adventure travel, regional revitalization, tourism management, and travel and tour operations. So, let's begin with our first panelist, Mr. Shigeru Takada. He's the Executive Director and Adventure Division Director for Tsuruga Resort Company Limited, and he's a board member of the Japan Adventure Tourism Organization. Mr. Takada, take it away.
So my theme for today is an expansion of a tourism exchange population through adventure tourism. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am from Kitami City of Hokkaido, so I grew up in Akanko Onsen Hot Spring. Since I was a child, I have been playing outdoor sports, and in 1983 I went to Canada as a high school rugby coach. And back then, I played so much outdoor sports. After that, I came back to Japan, and Akanko Lake. I started fishing in Akanko Lake and Ezo-Iwana fish. This is a very precious fish. And Toru Nishiyama delivered this message, and I started fly fishing with a catch and release approach. So I started fly fishing back then in Lake Akan. And also a canoe school was open as well in the island. Torihata-san, who has A-class license from Germany, I invited this instructor and started and launched a canoe school, and I held about 3 sessions. As a result, Kushirogawa River canoe and so on also became famous as a result. And adventure travel In 2016, I went to Alaska with them, adventure travel, and I could see that they were such an amazing group, and I wrote a report, and in 2017, all of a sudden, from my owner, I was invited to his home, and when I traveled to his home, I was told that I didn't have to work on overseas business anymore. I was the head of that department, but now the share has reached 30% already, so we don't have to do this anymore. Adventure should be the next focus. So I thought I was in a way dismissed from my previous position, but I was told off, I was reprimanded, that he said that I would be given a very important project to decide on the direction of the company from that point on. So adventure travel, you may have seen cliff like this in the picture. I believe that Japanese people tend to associate adventure travel with something that is in the picture, but there is a soft adventure and a hard adventure. And soft adventure is the most popular layer, where there is a lot of participants, for example, cultural experiences and so on have become quite mainstream. So this is really fit for Japan. And adventure travel is the area I've been engaged in since. So there are some villages that were artificially made, or sometimes they are recreated. And for example, Ainu theme park has been set up, which was somewhat mainstream in the past, but now we tend to travel into the community where actual people live and have cultural experiences. That's what the adventure travel is all about. So local citizens' livelihood and history should be the features that you should be interested in, and appreciating them is important. That is the concept of adventure travel. And expansion of the tourism exchange population is a theme, and what are the benefits? By generating traffic, businesses will of course prosper, and at the same time there will be better logistics activities, more logistics activities. It can revitalize the community. We can raise awareness of the area, which will eventually lead to the regional development. That is the benefits of expanding tourism exchange population. What about demerits? If you are a business person, of course, if it leads to the regional development, community development, you may think that is all very well. In the past, that was my idea as well. Having said that, adventure travel may lead to overuse, and also it can affect the livelihoods of local residents. And you have to wait for a bus. In the past, you didn't have to wait for a bus, but now there are such a long line, and you cannot get on the bus that you used to be on, and also there are some garbage, rubbish, and scenery issues. And when the expansion of the population doesn't grow anymore, sometimes the overseas inbound tourists become a zero. So it could be quite harmful. So if you try to enter a village or a forest as a larger group, it will cause a lot of damage to the nature and environment, and it could lead to the dilapidation of the area. So to prevent all these, adventure travel may be the approach to go for. So it is important to have a moderate expansion of a tourism exchange population. That is the tourism style of adventure. So those who are engaged in adventure travel tend to have characteristics as guests, such as they are highly educated, they are high-income intellectuals, and so they have sustainable spirit and mind. They have values that money cannot buy, and they tend to be cooperative with other guests. Also, they tend to be respectful and has motivation to learn the nature and culture of the residents of destination. They are also interested in learning. They are looking for interactions with local residents through restaurants, bars, and so on for good exchange. So what we get from moderate expansion is as follows. So even if the number of customers increases only slightly, sales can increase, and as the exchange population gradually expands, the acceptance system in local destination will be prepared. There will be high-level customers, good quality customers, and customers can be attracted by word of mouth, and the community is protected and nourished. At the same time, I believe that this is one of the important points when it comes to adventure travel. The community is protected, and at the same time, it prospers. And so this impressed our owner as well. So within our group, they said that we should create an adventure-based series. So we have started that, and we've been continuing this since 2017. So this is a sort of activity we have been engaged in. So if you could be interested in adventure, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you for this opportunity today.
Thank you, Takada-san. As you continue to develop the sector of adventure tourism for Japan, what do you think is the most important element needed for adventure tourism to take root in Japan?
I think everybody in the town wanted to be the welcome, feel welcome to everybody. That's the most important things. And they get be friendly. This is the most important part. So, customer is the quite highest persons. So they know that they have to protect the area, and then they are really proud to be with the people in town. So please, if somebody in townside people, please be welcome to the adventure travel.
Do you have any advice for how to make them encourage the townsfolk to be welcoming?
Once, I have to say, Japanese is really pride. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to speak English, mm-hmm. because they were really scared about making a mistake. But it's not really mm-hmm. serious point. Mm-hmm. If you see the foreign customer and the adventure customer, mm-hmm. just try to say hi. Yeah. That's the most important part.
Yeah. Very good advice. And I know what I see so much today and all over Japan is everyone pulling out their phones and using Google Translate. So that's a good option too to help you communicate. Thank you very much, Takada-san.
Thank you.
Yes, great. Okay, we're going to continue on the journey of regional revitalization and development with our next panelist, as Mr. Shumpei Shimada, and he's the president and CEO of SATOYUME Company Limited. Mr. Shimada's company works with local businesses in approximately 40 locations across Japan to formulate regional revitalization strategies, product development, and sales channel development. Mr. Shimada, please.
Good afternoon. I am the president of SATOYUME Company Limited. My name is Shimada. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity at this auspicious opportunity. SATOYUME has the mission of giving shape to the dreams of country towns, and we are a business production company specializing in regional revitalization in over 50 regions on a nationwide basis. We are launching and operating various businesses, including heritage home hotels, antenna shops, and regional trading houses. Under the theme of Create New Destinations, I would like to introduce the challenges of SATOYUME. After COVID subsided, inbound tourism revived, and we are seeing news about over-tourism at the moment, but my understanding about over-tourism is only localized in renowned tourist sites, but I still believe that there are myriads of attractive regions in Japan not known to the world. So Japan's capacity can increase by many-fold for Japan to become the leading nation for tourism. SATOYUME, since the foundation in 2013, we have continued to preserve the attitude of the landscape and life of nameless villages and towns. For example, this picture, this is a depopulated village of 700 people, Kosuge village in Yamanashi Prefecture. No convenience stores, no highways, and no railways. In these villages, we have worked together for over 10 years. This is a village not even known to the Japanese people, but this has become a destination where many people would visit from both domestic and overseas. There is a concept of the entire village is a hotel in this Kosuge village. We launched accommodation business. We have renovated vacant houses of 100 houses to hotel guest rooms. And the villagers are serving as the concierge, and the entire village is considered as a hotel. It is a forgotten and a deserted heritage home, but this is a concept of village-wide hotel development, and with the skills of the carpenters and the designers, it has rejuvenated into luxury hotel with over 40,000 yen room charge. The villagers are responsible and participate in the management of guiding, transportation, and cleaning, and it is becoming popular to have warm hospitality from the village. Since the COVID subsided, we are seeing increasing number of inbound tourists, and the ratio of the overseas guests is now about to reach 50%. Last year, we started the wedding plan called the Village-Wide Wedding. The village headman is serving as the observer, and those villagers who have no blood relationship with the bride and groom participate, and they do congratulate with all the villagers. The first customer was the Israeli couple. As you can see, in villages where Japanese people don't even know, they are becoming the destinations. Starting from Kosuge village to create the movement of new destinations, the largest railway company, JR East Japan, participated. In 2021, we established joint venture company between SATOYUME and JR East Japan, and we started railway entire hotel, and we are targeting for launching the business in 30 regions in Japan by 2040. With the progress of depopulation, with declining passengers in remote railway suburbs, we are creating unmanned stations to hotel receptions, and we have renovated the vacant houses to guest rooms, restaurants, and saunas, and the villagers are becoming the staffs to provide the services, and they are creating the proposal of new travel where the entire village can offer hospitality. So this is unmanned station, and the vacant houses are now rejuvenated as the saunas and restaurants. Secondary transportation is also another challenge, but in unmanned stations, we are now having the rental service of electrified tukutuku and mobility services. Just with a small idea, it can become the purpose of the travel or to create values for experience. This initiative was introduced by NHK Special, and last year at the Japan Tourism Award, we received the highest prize of the Minister of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism Award, drawing attention. This movement of creating new destination is even more expanding. SATOYUME this July, with the large travel agency MIS, we have concluded a capital partnership, and we started the joint project to create new destination under the name of Destination Create Project. Japan inherent history, culture, streets, and food. We have wonderful resources, but there are many areas not yet known to the overseas guests. The attractiveness of these regions should be more sophisticated and communicated to the world to make sure that there will be more visitors to these destinations as a project. We just begun, but already 4 regions have volunteered to participate. Blessed by the water of Mogamigawa River, and this has prospered as the site of Dai in Japan, and Kahoku Village, Yamagata Prefecture, is the heart of food. Considered as one of the 3 major unexplored regions, /and agriculture, Shio Village of Miyazaki Prefecture, and blessed by the limestone cave and Kumagawa River, they are about to recover from the heavy rain disaster. Kuma Village of Kumamoto Prefecture, our odori dance and whirlpools with unique culture. Tokushima Prefecture is also participating in this project. These account for the 4 regions. We often hear the keyword of lifestyle tourism, but lifestyle and travel are not separate, but in a sense they may be considered as 2 sides of a coin. Life, somebody's daily life, is becoming something that is not usual as a travel to someone. So designing the destination of travel would mean that we are designing and also supporting design of the purpose of somebody else's life. So we hope to discuss the potential of such travel and tourism in this panel discussion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Shimada-san. That was very interesting, and I'm eager to find out more of the destinations that you're going to be trying to develop. Can you share with us what type of area you find attractive when you're looking for a new place to promote?
Yes. For example, those with a World Heritage or shrines, we are not targeting for such areas as destinations. We are looking for something that is unknown. So at that timing, what will become the tourism resources for us? Regional challenges can become the resources of tourism. They have vacant houses and unmanned stations. They are trying to solve these issues, and looking at their stories and their attitude to improve would impress people, and we want to participate in the story. That can become the destination of the travel. The more the challenges are, they can become the good site for tourism.
Tell everywhere. Every part of Japan has stories to tell, and the idea of becoming part of that story as the visitor, I think, is what we see around the world so many people are longing to do. So I applaud what you're doing. It's exciting. It's a lot of fun to think about where it's going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to turn to Europe and hear a little bit about how Europe is managing tourism. That's another issue that we deal with as we expand the tourism population into new areas. We're fortunate to have with us Mr. Eduardo Santander, Executive Director of the European Travel Commission. He has over 19 years experience in tourism marketing, brand development, social rights protection, and public relations. And he's a passionate advocate for the freedom to travel, smart connectivity, and sustainability in tourism, which I know he's going to tell us a bit more about now.
Konnichiwa. Good afternoon. Arigato gozaimasu for the kind invitation. On behalf of the European Travel Commission and its 35 member countries, we would like to thank the organizers, the Japan Travel and Tourism Association, Japan Association of Travel Agents, JATA, and Japan National Tourism Organization for the kind invitation. We are very proud partners of the Tourism Expo this year here and the previous ones, and we hope this to be a big tradition in our organization. I would like to talk to you about something that probably couldn't be avoided this summer in many different places around the world, the so-called phenomenon of over-tourism. As you may know, over-tourism has once again become a concern, particularly after the rebound of international travel post-pandemic. Communities in popular destinations worldwide, not only in Europe, but particularly in Europe, have expressed concerns over excess tourism on their doorstep. I would like to, in the few minutes that I have, to outline the complexities of over-tourism and the possible measures that can be taken to address the problem. So let me remind you that the term over-tourism is actually very old. It was actually created back in 2011, and it was the first signs of that something was going wrong. And the fact that we thought that after pandemic we'll have this kind of better world, and we all thought when we couldn't travel that we could reinvent the industry in a way that it will be more forward-looking, more sustainable in all its dimensions, whether it was economically, whether it's environmentally or socially. But we maybe forgot that humans are a little bit short-lived and that we forget very, very, very quick. It was especially evident during last summer in cities like Barcelona, but also Amsterdam, Venice, and on this side of the world, also in Kyoto and places like New York or Dubrovnik, that we have to fix a little problem. In the very recent months, during the summer season in the Northern Hemisphere, during which popular destinations heaved under the pressure of pent-up post-pandemic demand, we see that we thought and we probably calculated or forecasted wrongly that we thought that post-pandemic we will have the so-called ketchup bottle effect. People will travel for 2, maximum 3 years massively, but then inflation savings will be used, and numbers will go to normal. But we were wrong. We were wrong that we thought that that will be the case, and particularly in Europe, people started saving in other aspects of their lives, but they continued traveling, and going on holiday became one of the must-have in every European household and beyond. So these concerns over tourism have not only been seen in popular cities in Europe, as you may have seen in the media, but also in the islands of Hawaii and Greece, beaches in Spain, national parks in the United States, and in Africa. Nobody talks much about in Africa, but there's also like some elements of over-tourism in Africa too. And particular here in places off the beaten track in beautiful islands of Japan, where, after my previous conversations today and the night before with some of our colleagues, it's something that the government here is starting to take not only serious, but to address with new policies. So as I was saying, the term over-tourism is a very complex thing. It was created in 2001 by Freya Pettersen, and she was lamented the excesses of tourism development and the government deficit in this beautiful Roman city of Pompeii in Italy. So at that time, and it's 20 years later, or 20 years before, it's becoming an increasingly familiar term. If we forget the journalistic or the media side of it, we have to consider over-tourism a very social phenomenon. And what we are more concerned about is what we call the anti-tourism activism, or the social rejection of tourism, which we consider something that it has to be addressed right now. We also have linked that to very lax governance. We all want tourism, we all know the benefits of tourism, but we never think about the consequences, medium and long term. Governments at all levels must be decisive and firm about policies responsive that control the nature of tourist demand and not merely give into profits that flow from tourism expenditure and investment. The biggest problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that over-tourism, and tourism in general is often very oversimplified as being a problem of too many tourists. But that's not only the case. While that may well be an underlying symptom of excess, it fails to acknowledge the immediate factors at play. Many of places argue that they have exceeding their current capacity, but how do we measure the capacity of destinations? Is it something that we have to do in a very multi-sectorial way, together with the transportation system, the aviation sector, the hospitality sector, and also, the local authorities with regards to local infrastructure. It also has a very cultural component, as we see that tourism is starting to affect the idiosyncrasy of the places. And people feel, I saw yesterday in the actually the monorail train of Tokyo, some posters of inviting people to behave, also foreigners, to behave in a different way, just to comply with natural kindness and politeness of the Japanese people. So you see this starting to be embedded very much in society. We also have the issue of place-based displacement, where people don't know whether they are locals or visitors any longer, because they go to the places or they live in places where they were born and they don't identify themselves with those places any longer. Whether it's in Kyoto or it's Venice or it's Madrid or in New York, people are starting to think, who is the owner of the place? It is the classic paradox of the triangle of the placeholder. Is it the resident, because they own or rent a place permanently in a place? It is the visitor, because they pay a fee to enter and visit the place? Or is it the investor or the entrepreneur that they have put money into a business there? So as you see, overcoming over-tourism excesses is a very, very complex equation. And we see a little bit of very scattered solutions, such ban cruise ships in Amsterdam, to strategies of degrowth, or as we call it, demarketing. Demarketing, which we consider at EDC wrong. I think you have to change the way you market. We can change the message. We can educate both supply and demand in the right way. And last but not least, the so-called entries, fees, and gates in places that we consider actually like just a patch in a big injury that cannot be just put a little plaster. People will not be deterred. We do think that advocacy and awareness campaigns are the most important issues that could be addressed to solve the problem. And definitely international cooperation, and that's one of the reasons we're here engaging with our friends from Japan, because these problems could be considered now not very localized, but a global. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were some shocking pictures, I guess, but we have all seen them, and we're becoming familiar with that. I was most interested in your discussion about social rejection of tourism and how we combat that, looking to encourage citizens to be positive thinking. Do you have a recipe for that? Do you have advice?
Well, I wish I had this. We have co-created together with the World Economic Forum, and last year we published the 10 Principles for Sustainable Destinations, and this is like a compendium of so-called recipe, if there will be like a cookery book or something that we could put in an oven and get the results and eat it all together. But we came with 10 magic ingredients that would apply to most destinations. The first one is certify and monitor scientifically. I think the classic, you cannot change what you cannot measure. Obviously, we have to change our KPIs. Only arrivals, only expenditure are too few indicators. You need to talk about consumer behavior, perception of destinations, resource consumption, whether it's water, energy, and so on. Second and foremost, after pandemic, was very clear that we have to cultivate the workforce. We have to take care of people working in tourism. Third, very obvious, but sometimes forgotten, prioritize and involve communities. So you have to involve in tourism policy what's happening with the next tourism decision. So it should be agreed with the citizens. Align visitors with that. Very obvious, protect heritage and protect nature. It's part of the quintessence of what a destination represents. Seventh ingredient is produce and consume responsibly. We see that more and more and more it's embedded in our all lives, that we have to be conscious about our own personal and individual behavior. Very important, I think Tokyo is a good example of calibrate infrastructure. What is the infrastructure you're going to need not only now, but in 15 years' time, in 20 years' time, and therefore invest, not only thinking the next elections or who is going to vote or not, or how is going to be the future of your place. This is an appeal also for all ministers and governors present here, is govern effectively. And this is sometimes difficult because we have to think in the generation to come, not only in the present. And last but not least is the last spice that we put in this recipe is embed resilience. We know that our sector is very much affected by crisis, and it recovers very quick normally. But we've been hit very, very often and very hard in the last 20 years, and we need to learn our lessons. Thanks.
Thank you. I think that was some very good advice, and I hope we can all. That leaves us with something to be thinking about and building into our planning as we go forward. Our final panelist is a recognized leader among Japan's tour operators and travel agencies. Mr. Eijiro Yamakita is currently serving as the CEO of JTB Corporation. Prior to assuming that role in June of 2020, a kind of difficult time to take on that job, he was head of global strategy for JTB and represented the company in Europe. Mr. Yamakita, please share how JTB is creating new business models to bring people, places, and possibilities together.
Thank you, Marjorie-san. Your Excellency, ministers from the world, and honorable guests, thank you for coming, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to move forward in Japanese, as my presentation is quite long. To make it short, I do it in Japanese.
Well, thank you very much. Today my presentation title is New Era of Creating a Business Models that Bring People, Places and Possibilities Together. This kind of business, the creation of opportunities to bring people together in meaning ways. So we stopped calling ourselves a travel agency a while ago, and we are now creating opportunities to bring people together, to deliver something, to create something new. That is how we've been conducting a business. As you can see at the left bottom, we put creating between connecting and contributing. And we have this concept of connecting, creating, and contributing today. The background to this is that travels or trips. There are 8 billion people living on Earth, and I believe that traveling affects everyone. It's a universal theme. So 112 years ago, in 1912, the company was established, and we have held various connections with the stakeholders. And leveraging such connections, we are trying to create new opportunities to bring people together. As a result, we have classified our business into 3 different domains. The first one is a tourism strategy, and then the second one is an area solution strategy, and the third is a business solution strategy. Tourism strategy is for travelers. Targeting travelers, how conveniently can we provide deep traveling experiences. So that is a conventional mainstream view about traveling. But in our case, beyond traveling, we look at the destination, and then at the destination, how can people live comfortably? And what about the economic benefits? And creating a lot of economic benefits and enriching the community. That is our purpose, and we have also created our area solution strategy business as well. And then there is another pillar. You may be considering leisure travels when you think about trips, but there are other types of travels as well. That is by corporations or businesses. So they make trips to resolve challenges and issues. For example, businesses sometimes want to make announcement about their new product launch and how to do promotion about the particular product and how to have an exhibition or launch event or incentive trips are also there. You invite your customers too. So there are various purposes as to why a trip may be made. So we also have another pillar of a business solution strategy business. Now I'd like to talk about the changes in environmental surrounding the tourism industry. The COVID-19 posed such a difficulty to us, and we've all survived that phase of history. And now we are in a recovering stage. And in case of the Japanese market, there is a sharp increase of visitors to Japan, inbound, and also on the right-hand side, there is a decrease in the number of Japanese traveling abroad, which is outbound. That is because of foreign currency, weak Japanese yen. But at the same time, people's mindsets have become very much inward-looking, so they don't really want to make cross-border travels anymore as much as before. And also earlier, Santander mentioned that there is a challenge around over-tourism, which is manifesting itself. So there is a tourist concentration in urban areas or at certain times of year, so we have to find solutions to these problems. And the digital transformation is not really taking root as part of the tourism industry, and of course sustainability is a common overarching theme for all of us. And at the very end, high added value is another key phrase you see on the slide. So travel products added value, not just simply making a trip and have a lot of fun shopping. It's not just that, because you always have a purpose when you make a trip, so we have to deliver a value in line with that purpose. That is another challenge. And also at the right bottom, there is inadequate human resources an issue. To resolve all these problems and challenges, we are making all sorts of efforts and initiatives. There are many case studies that we have. So one of them is Yamanashi Prefecture's Kai Fujiyama Road project. So tourist-based Kawaguchiko was established. Kawaguchiko is such a beautiful lake. It is at the skirt of Mount Fuji. And there is a famous convenience store. And then there was this screen that was put up. And because of that, Mount Fuji was blocked. You could not see the mountain anymore because there were just so many people. So distributing and dispersing such people is important. So that is why we established 2 tourist bases, and we ask people to come to these locations first. Even if they come by car, for example, they can take electric bicycles and so on. We provide such different mobility, and then they can travel a lot more greenly. As a result, there will be a distribution of tourists visiting all sorts of different locations. In the past, they would just visit station front. There was a certain location where there was a concentration of people, but not anymore. And there are non-Japanese people visiting as well, and they don't know what should be their next stop. So we provide information in these tourist bases. Through digital means, we are establishing these bases. That is one initiative we implement. And then the next one is a Takamatsu example in Shikoku. Seto Naikai Inland is a very beautiful inland sea, and then there are many beautiful islands. For example, Shimanami Highway and so on are quite famous across the globe. And to connect all these islands, we have limited means, so we tend to visit similar or the same islands. Everyone goes to the same islands, so we are now offering a concierge service, Seto Island Sea Cruise Concierge. There are a lot of cruise ships we are offering so that we can deliver highly value-added experiences. And then the next one is through collaboration with a business in Aomori. We can harvest a lot of apples in that prefecture, but there is a labor shortage to do the harvesting. So to address this challenge, we started working with Asahi Beer, Asahi Beverage, and they dispatched the people to this location to harvest apples. So that is another initiative that's quite interesting. And then the next challenge is nighttime economy, which is a weak spot in Japan. So during the night, people can travel easily by bus, so we prepare bus services, or we develop various content and shows, and we can distribute people in times of time of a day. And then the final one is outbound. We have to mobilize outbound tourism in Japan, or from Japan. We started collaborating with Major League Baseball to offer all sorts of hospitality programs. As a result, there are more people going to the United States. So there has to be some kind of a trigger to encourage such movement. So that is one example of purpose-driven traveling. And then there is actually one more. This is called Europe Land Cruise Offering. Europe Mundo is the name of the company, a Spanish company, and they have joined our group. So this is a visiting all over the place type trip. So people come through FIT, and then they can visit various corners of Europe. And that is the ultimate purpose of this service. Last but not least, this is for changing the trend for businesses. There are many business events taking place. Having said that, businesses cannot really achieve their purpose, so there is a SMM, which stands for Strategic Meeting Management. So in Indian market, for example, this model is expanding and growing so much. So in the business activities, they are highly value-added products. Thank you very much.
Such a large number of really innovative projects. I loved the apple picking. I think I want to go and do that. As you expand these tourism opportunities and expand the audience to regions throughout Japan and throughout the world, you're working with a range of people in different communities. What do you consider the most important when working with those people in local communities? How to engage with them?
Yes, I think it is the most important thing is to understand what the region's requirement is, and so listen to the people and work together with them and solve the problem they're facing. That's the initial step, and then involve as many people as possible. That cannot be done within the local community. So large corporations should be involved in that, and some government should be involved in it. So we connect these people and create a power at the local.
Thank you. We've all heard some very innovative new ideas, some inspiring ideas for how we can create a new travel population, expand travel into new areas of our countries. From now on, we have about 20 minutes, and I would like to have a kind of open discussion among the panel. Any questions, any new topics that you'd like to raise yourselves based on what you've heard today? Anyone like to start? Yes.
Thank you so much. I would like to reiterate the issue of collaboration. And in my short stay so far in Japan, I can feel from all the conversations that I had this morning and last night that there's a lot of common challenges, common opportunities, and all of them have to do with a geopolitical situation that it's ever changing and that we probably as a sector cannot control. But I would like to hear and to ask my fellow panelists about the initiatives from Japan, as I hear that tourism is becoming more important in policy making too, and there are local elections as far as I'm concerned very soon, and how this is maybe reflecting on the opinions of the citizens of Japan and how they are also asking their representatives to address this in their political programs.
Very good question. Yamakita-san, would you have something on that?
Yes, I understand it's not easy to create a collaboration between public and private, for example, but even within the public, the government organization is sometimes very separate. And I believe it is important to create one grand picture, against the goal we are heading for, right? And then the collaboration could naturally happen, but this is not only done by the government, but private has the individual needs of the travelers and the local communities. So that's communication is the basic for the collaboration, I believe. Yeah. So.
Takada-san or Shimada-san, have you had some interaction on the government side to support your efforts?
Yes. I would like to speak from my position. Yes. In about 50 regions on a nationwide basis, we do various businesses, including tourism. But in the past 5 to 10 years, the government is stressing on tourism. This is what I feel. So I don't have so much complaints. But having said that, the subject of support is more dependent on hardware side. For example, renovation of the buildings, providing subsidy to do that, but the support to provide human resources is not sufficient. We have an increasing number of inbound travelers, but we are only able to vacate 50% of the guest rooms and not being able to offer dinner, only offering lunch only. So I think it is better to have more government support, and not only from the private sector. Talent development is something that a private sector should make efforts. So we hope to have a public and private partnership.
In our panel tourism forum that follows this discussion about how we're motivating young people to join the industry and be part of that workforce. It's a serious issue and definitely one that we need to address more. Takada-san, how about in Hokkaido with the government?
Hokkaido government is really understanding about tourism.
Great.
But every government counted only how many people coming.
Yeah.
They didn't counted how much they spend it. That's a point.
Yeah.
So if area got a lot of money, maybe that area's people understanding how important is tourism, but over tourism is mostly right now it's the most important point, and then give the damage to the place. So about me, we have I'm doing the guide business, but I'm making the limit. How many people? This area, how many people could take it? This area is more people could come in. So we are just doing ourselves. So everybody thinking about that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. So you're managing it as a business. You're determining how many people should be brought into a particular area, how much that area can actually handle. Yeah, that's very interesting. The quantity versus quality topic in tourism, we've all been looking at that over the years. Calculating the spend versus calculating the number of visitors. I think we've seen, certainly in North America, where I'm most involved, we've seen a big shift to that way of looking at tourism, that it's based on the spend, not on how many people come. I hope that we will see that change in Japan too, yes. Is there any other topic that someone would like to raise? Yamakita-san, yes.
I have a question to Mr. Santander. The picture you have shown on the screen, I found a very shocking word. Your paradise is our nightmare, right? So you talked a lot about over-tourism issue in the tourism. So there's always the conflict between the tourist and the residents all the time. And but even residents want to travel and they want to experience something very unique in other destination. So it sounded like some kind of hatred, just the rejection against the tourism itself. But the traveling habit is the common subject for all over the world, all the people living in the world. So how do you try to create a harmony between these people? It's a complicated matter. But for example, what we're trying to do is involving the school students, let them experience something local. So it's not a matter of many people is visiting in very nice places, but they want to learn something from the local community. So in that way, the communication quality is extremely important. So if you have a good idea, please tell me.
I'm going to try to give you a short answer for a very, very complex problem. The key word here, and Japan is very good at it, is education. Education, not only from at a school level or college level, it's about re-educating travel demand and supply at the same time. We live in a society which is globalized, which is full of uncertainties. We saw it like a few years ago with the pandemic. We see it every day with the climate emergency that I didn't mention before, but everything is interrelated, and you know it in Japan also. You suffer also the climatic events, whether it's a different pattern of the typhoon season, or lack of snow, or a lot of snow, or lack of fisheries. So these are global problems that we have to face together. With regards to your particular question, for us, there is a differentiation in between what the media is also reporting about and what the reality is. The word media comes originally from mediation between the public opinion and the facts. The problem is when the facts are not translating in a mediating way to the public opinion, which is sometimes what it happens all over the world. We have an issue, yeah, but is it so bad? We could call over-tourism under management too, because sometimes that's what it is sometimes. We know when the tourists are coming. We know when airlines are increasing their capacities. We know when tourism seasons are happening. At the European level union, we are looking into programs of diversifying our tourism offers, really pushing for lesser-known destinations, pan-European routes. But in the end, you cannot prescribe people what they should be doing. Nobody likes that. And going on a holiday is also a hedonistic, egoistic act where you want to feel better and you want to do things that you normally don't do at home. So we have to consider here the human factor. Therefore, and I come into the first point, education is key. Education is also with regards to the policy making. Our organization is based on Brussels because it allows us, direct access to our policymakers, to the European Parliament, to the European Commission. By the way, we have for the first time in history commissioner, which is the equivalent of a super minister for the European Union in charge of sustainable transport and tourism for the first time in history. That means that in Europe, where democracy was created, human rights were created, and also tourism was created, it's starting to take tourism very, very serious and embedding in every single layer of policy. This is super important, but as we know, tourism doesn't only fall into one category. It has to do with transportation, with accommodation, with hospitality, with education. But the common denominator of all these subsectors is people. And people can change their habits. It is a process of years, maybe decades, yeah. But I think our role as tourism leaders is to accelerate that process and to elevate, entrepreneurs helping us, to your point of public-private partnerships and so on, to not just tell or prescribe the industry what to do, but partner with them and say, what is it possible to do for you in the next 5 till 10 years? What is realistic? What is within your business plan? And what it's not? And how can the government support you with this? So it is complex, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, I think definitely there are examples of where it is not impossible, and it does seem that Europe is leading the way for the rest of us, and I hope that we can all take some guidance from that. Does anyone have any other topics they want to bring up? I think we have about time for one more topic. Shimada-san?
いいですか?
Hi, yes. I would like to ask you a question, Mr. Santander, again. In Japan, we are trying to come up with a new destination or goal. Overseas, if there are any new emerging destinations, what are such new areas or destinations? If there is any particular trend, please share it with us.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, there is some trends. There is ever-changing trends. One of the biggest change of behavior that we're noticing is that people are becoming more conscious about sustainability. In our part of the world, in Europe, most of the people are looking into the tourism offer and their impacts. How much they are starting to be conscious about their, not only the CO2 footprint, but also what is the impact on local communities. And the biggest mistake that the industry can do is to think that a client is just a number and is just a source of revenue. A client is a person who is thinking, who is deciding something for members of his family or his community, and we have to treat them as equal. And therefore, it's very, very important to, in our product development, in our marketing campaigns, to be very pedagogical about why are we changing things. We observe also that because of the climate emergency and many climate-related events, people are starting to shift their preferred destinations. For instance, last summer we had already trends. That doesn't mean that people go massively there to colder destinations in summer. People starting to not to seek for sun and beach destinations in summer, but rather going north. And that has a very positive consequence in distributing the tourism flows in lesser known destinations, such as could be like Scandinavia or some other places like Bulgaria, Ireland, that are lesser known destinations also here in Japan. At the European Travel Commission, we do believe that we need to support those destinations that need the most, because the reality of it, while we are talking about over-tourism, there are so many places that will wish to have many tourists too. And how do you balance, or how do you walk that balancing act is a difficult one. So because you cannot just tell to Venice, give me 2 million tourists and bring them to Bulgaria. That doesn't work like that. You have to work it in a very step-by-step approach of education. Our most recent campaign, marketing campaign here in Japan and in all overseas market, it's about that. It's about responsible tourism. It's about how to do things right for you, but also right for the destination, right also for the businesses, right? There's no, it's a win-win. There's not just the local is going to win and the resident is going to suffer on the, the local and the visitor is going to suffer. It's everybody's going to be streamlined for the sake of, elevating the experience for the visitor, but also for the local resident.
Yeah. Yes. Shimada-san, I have a question for you in terms of the different localities around Japan. Some small villages, do they see what you have been doing with your 700 hotel project and some of the other examples that you showed us, do they see that and come to you and say, how can we do this in our village, or how can we create product that way? Are they reaching out to you for that kind of help?
Yes. Fortunately, yes, we have been contacted by many localities. But actually, those potential villages or destinations which we did not know have inquired us, not famous ones, but those less known villages. When we visited them, actually, we considered whether these can be potentially the future destinations for tourism. But if there are some people who are doing very well, and then I may feel that these villages will be successful. So together with them, we would like to create a shared goal of destinations in the future.
Today is kind of a theme across what all of you have been saying, is that locally you do need to have people who want to be engaged, who want to take leadership in their communities and help to develop a new kind of tourism product. So that's very interesting. We're coming to the end. I wish we had time to hear some of Takada-san's stories of bears in Hokkaido that he shared with us over lunch. They were quite fun, but brought to us something about adventure tourism that really sounded like something I would want to go and do, and hear him growling at the bears. It sounded great. Takada-san, do you have any last words?
Yes, adventure tourism, tourists wanted to go like Shimada-san's town. Mm-hmm. They aiming that kind of place. Yeah. And then they would like to connect with the people. So everything, everybody wanted to aiming same way, but only one problem is nobody telling to the world. That's the most important part. So if somebody telling this place has this kind of things, then it's going to be blew up. Because, this town gets to be really over tourism, but next town doesn't have a people. Yeah. So this place is really jealous at the next, place. So if it's separated, yes. It's going to be even, so win-win. Everybody get to be happy.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes, there can definitely be envy between towns that are benefiting and those that are not.
And then Hokkaido's bear is really behaving. Yeah. So please come to Hokkaido.
And hear that growl. Yes. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our keynote panel discussion. We thank you for your attention. Please join me in giving a round of applause to our panelists. Yes, it was really terrific insights, and I think it started our afternoon off with good lead in to what is coming next, which is our TEJ Ministerial Roundtable, which will begin at 2:45. So you have a little bit of a break until that happens. We encourage you to stay with us and join us for that Ministerial Roundtable. We'll have 9 ministers and senior tourism leaders from 9 countries and senior executives from 4 global organizations, including Eduardo Santander, who will be back with us. So look forward to that session and encourage you all to stay with us and come back for that at 2:45. Thank you.
皆様ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, everyone. We would like to conclude the Tourism Expo Japan 2024. A keynote panel discussion is now concluded. Please give a big round of applause to everyone on the stage. Thank you very much. Today, Tourism Expo Japan 2024 keynote panel discussion has been just concluded. Thank you very much for your participation. This venue will be prepared for the 7th TEJ Ministers Roundtable. We are going to make preparation for the next session. So until we can complete the preparation, please wait for some minutes. If you are leaving today, please make sure that you will take all your belongings with you. At the exit of this venue, we would like to receive your simultaneous receiver for the simultaneous interpretation. Please give it to one of the staffers. The 7th Minister